All right, here we go. Thursday night. Thursday night. Let's do this. Yes. I know. Some people want us to go out on Road Patrol Live, but I am still really mad and I'm angry and I want to talk about it. Hi there, Janet Dwyer. Folks, share that you are watching. Yes. Very, very sad. I just sent how do you know that? How do how do you know that? Is that true? Let me find out. That'd be great if it's true. Did I get this guy suspended? Is this true? Oh. Okay. It's very, very possible. We're going to find out. I know. We're going to rein it in. This is what it's about. We're going to let everybody file in. I feel like, and other people have said this, folks, but I do feel that we are, wow. Why didn't you fucking tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Jesus, great. We got him suspended. Administrative leave. This is great. Why didn't you tell me? Oh, okay. He should have been fired, though. I'll show you who I mean. And again, the TikTok is on the page. I posted it. I put it on social media. Now it's everywhere. I know, but I should have been told. Great. But he should be fired. Placed breaking. Notice the local news doesn't fucking have this. I'm telling you, folks, I'm so angry. Hi there, Garney. I am so angry about these people. But he should be fired. Placed on administrative leave. I am so angry. Let me just put this out. Okay. This is who we're talking about.
Who hated
this jerk.
We'll never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun.
Oh, hold on.
I have about as much sympathy for Charlie Kirk right now as I do for all those farmers across the country who want socialist handouts from the government right now. This is a man who hated the LGBTQ community.
Not true.
Who hated women's rights.
Not true.
Who hated democracy.
Not true.
Who thought that he was a big man because he went to college campuses and debated young college students and thought he proved how tough he was with his words that he studied ahead of time. What a piece of garbage. This is what happens. I'm curious if we're going to want to take guns away now from who will inevitably be the white man who shot and killed him. Bye, Charlie. Academy.
Hey, Kate.
There is a victim being taken out. You'll never live
What's
in a
that?
society when you have an armed
I am.
citizenry and you won't have a single gun.
No, I am.
I have about as much sympathy for
What are
Charlie
you gonna
Kirk
tell
right
me?
now as I do for all those farmers
Oh,
across the country
okay. No, I don't walk past
who
dark.
want
I'm live.
socialist handouts from the
All right,
government
I'll
now.
call you when I'm done.
This is a
Okay.
man who hated the LGBTQ community.
Put on administrative
who
leave.
hated women's rights, who hated democracy, who thought that he was a big man because he went to college campuses. And
I know, he
debated
should be,
young
Becky.
college students.
Administrative
and thought he
leave.
proved how tough
I
he
agree,
was
James.
with his
I agree.
words that he
I'm telling you.
studied ahead of
I
time.
can't believe how angry I
What a
am.
piece of garbage.
He is.
This is what happens. I'm curious if we're going to want to take guns away now from who will inevitably be the white man.
Fuck you, a-hole.
Bye, Charlie.
No, bye.
There's a victim being taken.
Hold on.
There is a victim being taken
Right.
out there.
Go
We are
easy.
now getting word from officials there are multiple victims being assassinated.
Christ. The Naval Academy. Well, folks, listen, I'm going to take the victory lap on this one because we put it out there. That jerk. I can't tweet at the same time. Look at this. Wrong night. It's tomorrow night. Hold on. I'd like Nicole to join. Bear with me. You know what? I want to show this because this is why nothing is happening. There he is. Okay. You know what? I'm going to take a victory lap on this jerk. I'm the only one. There he is, Benjamin Philo. The rest of the media, they're not doing anything on him. They're not. So, yeah, I'm going to take, I think we're entitled. Let me share this with, damn it. Here we go. Right here. Okay. Hold on. Okay. All right. If they want to join, they can join. I'm going to text later. There he is. Good. Hey, I'm the one that posted it. No one else, no one else in the media. In Channel 12, they're ignoring it. But I want to show you why he's being placed on administrative leave and not fired. And I'm going to show you why. And folks, I don't like being angry. I don't. I like this when we're together and I like the humor. But these people make it impossible. They do. I'm going to show you why. The media, no one is commenting. I'm the only one. So I don't care. I'm going to take the credit on this one. Look at her. Val Lawson. She is president of NEA Rhode Island. She is the Rhode Island Senate president. She refuses to condemn the Charlie Kirk. She won't call President Trump. It's always just Trump. She refuses to condemn it. She's the boss of the jerk from Barrington that was placed on administrative leave. That's why. And I want to be even more specific. Channel 12 announced, there was a bomb scare at her house. But what they don't report is the fact that, and I'm not condoning that, by the way, but what they're not reporting is she won't condemn that he was killed. This jerk in Barrington, who's now on administrative leave, reports to her, to Lawson, Senate president. Now, if you live in East Providence, folks, bombard her inbox. Contact her. There's no reason for foul language. Should be very simple. You have an obligation to condemn the killing of Charlie Kirk. She's the Senate president. For those of you that don't pay attention to our local government, I don't blame you, by the way, but you have Governor McGreed, and then you have Speaker Joe Shekarchi. She's in charge. This person is in charge of the state Senate. She also happens to be president of the teachers union. She refuses to condemn the killing of Charlie Kirk and will not call. See, they have a code. They're a club. They won't call President Trump, much like Magaziner. While Trump is causing all this. Folks, listen, let me just be very clear. It's a pet peeve. I can't stand, you're supposed to respect the office. You respect the office. I would say President Obama. I would say President Biden. I would say Vice President Harris. This is Congressman Sept magazine refuses to say President Trump. It's always just the last name. Same thing with McGreed. Same thing with Sheldon Whitehouse. She should not get a free pass. Tim White, Channel 12, she had a bomb threat at her house. Why don't you fucking include in the report Val Lawson, Senate President, who refuses to condemn the killing of Charlie Kirk, had a bomb threat at her East Providence house that Tommy Bryan contacted me on. Why do they leave it out? Hear me out. I don't like being angry. I don't. Because this should be about humor. But why give her a free pass? An administrative leave is like a paid vacation. So will the media even report that locally? They suck. Then you have this jerk. This guy. I don't know who this guy is in Coventry. The pizza owner. You see these things again? I shared that. I'm telling you. Folks, and I don't, that's why, people are asking me, first of all, are you covering the Vigil tonight? It's not tonight. Can't you even keep that straight? I'm tired because of, last night was late. And admittedly, and I want you to understand, zero respect, Ryan. Zero. All protected. I fucking hate them. I'm going to be very honest with everybody. So, I know, Dr. Lisa. Thank you. I was the one that told you. Get him fired, Dr. Lisa. Get him fired. This jerk. But you know what? This is like Ollie's Donuts. Do you remember that? 2020, June of 2020. He was backing Black Lives Matter instead of the police. These people annoy me. Good evening, Pat. But why is Tim White? Why is Channel 10, Channel 12? You can't find in their stories. Oh, look at this. Oh, the Republicans. She had a bomb threat at her house. Val Lawson. 20 vehicles were on her street. 20, apparently. East Providence, State Police. I don't know who else went there. I get that. Is that news? She got a bomb threat? Yes. Turned out to be fake. All I'm saying is, why complete the circle? Why can't you say Lawson, president of the teachers union, NEA Rhode Island, who refuses to condemn the killing of Charlie Kirk? That's all I'm looking for. I'm the same with you, Garney. I will never go back to Allie's. Remember with Matt? I know, Liz Miller. Get her off my screen. This jerk. Hey, guess what? D. Petrillo's Pizza and Baker in Coventry, mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. Good luck. Total, Brian. She is. I said it. I'll admit it's a pet peeve. Folks, I want to go. That guy, I don't know if he feels that that's going to be good for his business, I don't know what to tell you. But listen, I'm going to do my coverage. I get that, right? I'll show you another jerk. Where is he? There he is. Oh, yeah, we don't condone political violence. No, she wouldn't, Eric. She would not refuse a buffet. He will not sit. Governor McGreed will not sit in the same room. There's two Republican leaders at the State House. Mike Chippendale, who's the House Minority Leader, and Senator Jessica De La Cruz. McKee will not sit with them for 5 fucking minutes to have a cup of coffee. He is such a fraud. He's a liar. I can't stand it. That's why I'm telling you, Bruce. Oh, my goodness. We are joined by greatness. My goodness, folks. You want to talk about a hero. She is joining us right now. It's bad, but she is a leader. And oh my God, I think so highly of her. There she is, folks. My ultimate conservative crush, Nicole Solas. Good evening, Nicole.
Hi, John. Thanks a lot for inviting me on. I'm sorry my screen is black. I just had a rough day with the Charlie Kirk death, and I look terrible, so I don't want to scare anybody. And I just want to be
find that impossible to believe. But Nicole, I want to give you a platform. First of all, this is going to be the first of many conversations. You know I'm such a fan. You're a national figure. You deserve so much more press. but take me inside. I'm with you, Nicole. It's so rotten. And I'm going to share some things about why I'm so upset, but I want to hear from you first because you're good enough to join us.
You know, Charlie Kirk, he was doing something that no one else was doing. He was going to college campuses and he was directly engaging students in what's really just the Socratic method. You know, you go to a good college, you get a classical education, and they're really challenging you on what you're saying. And it was clear that these students were not getting that kind of education when Charlie would just say to them things like, well, what do you mean by that? And they would get flustered. They couldn't articulate a position. And then he was very kind to them and he would try to help them. So he was doing what no one else was doing. And he was also trying to spread the gospel, and he wanted to save students, and he believed in his faith. And we live in America where you can do that. And so seeing him just slaughtered for doing exactly what America stands for, which is open debate, free exercise of your religion, and trying to learn from each other. I mean, it's just, I run out of words. Like, it's just, his wife and family were there. I hear that they witnessed the whole thing. I mean, why do we have colleges at all if we can't go and engage each other in debate? And the one thing I took away from that is, well, it's because the left, first they tried to cancel free speech. Now they're going to kill us because they couldn't cancel us. And they have gone from sort of this personal bullying to, it's now like terrorism. This is what terrorists do. Terrorists kill you for speech and they celebrate your death.
Yeah. And Nicole, you're exactly right. In our state, look at, as I said, Governor McKee will not sit in the same room with any Republicans. Sheldon Whitehouse, Seth Magaziner continually attack Republicans. Gabe Amo are less than human. They are talked about in a derogatory way. Anyone that is a Trump supporter, McKee dismisses as just some kind of lunatic. It is a concerted effort by the Rhode Island Democrat Party continually. And you and I have talked about Donald Anderson, who became the first chairperson, or not first, but a chairperson of the Women's Progressive Caucus, a 72-year-old man in a dress with long hair.
I mean, it's insane that we all have to keep pretending that men are women, that cruelty is kindness, that, murder is celebrated. I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I do know that what our side has to keep doing is engaging open debate. We have to keep doing what Charlie is doing. Now, I also think we have to be smart about it. I don't think that we should be having at least people like us in open fields with lots of rooftops. I think we definitely need metal detectors. I don't think we need to be sitting ducks on principle. We should at least be safe as much as possible. But what we don't want to do is be overcome with fear and terror and just say, you know what, I'm not even going to talk anymore. That's what they want, and we can't give that to them.
Nicole, I just want to touch on that night. You hosted an event at the Cranston William Hall Public Library, and I stood out in front, and I will never forget that night, because what I witnessed was they should have had Butler Hospital pulling up and taking people away. It was mental illness. I will never forget Anderson on the steps. Trans rights are human rights. Trans rights. And they were so vengeful towards your guest. And Charlie Kirk was one of the people that said, I don't think it's healthy to tell a 12-year-old boy that's having problems that, you're going to be much happier if you switch your gender. Let's keep it a secret from your parents. And then what happens years later? They're not happy that now they're a girl. They have irreversible surgery, and we're seeing all this violence. And supposedly, some of the cartridges of the shooter that assassinated Charlie Kirk has mention of the trans community. So Nicole, there is something to this.
Yes, this is leftist political violence. And when I see people on Twitter saying things, oh, it's both sides, it's not. our country has centuries, and really countries across the world have centuries of leftist extremist political violence. Yes, there are examples of right-wing violence, but if you were to do a full audit, this leftist extremism has been choking our country for years. I mean, like there are people online that I was talking to that said, go back to the French Revolution. That's like one of the best examples of leftist extremist violence in a revolution. And we have, quite a history in America with the transgender ideology. We really need to start looking at on how this ideology is fueling this anger. I mean, we have a mix of hormones that can cause people to rage and be violent. We have an ideology that's telling these people that their lives are at risk just by misgendering them. I mean, there are lots of factors here that show that this is not just a coincidence when they're inscribing transgender ideological stuff on the bullets and on the cartridges. I mean, the other side would never tolerate that if they found cartridges with a biblical inscription or anything remotely right-wing.
And Nicole, you're exactly right. You hear, people need to understand, we hear so much about former football players and CTE, and they talk about, wow, this does real damage to the brain. And we didn't realize all the hitting, and whether it was Aaron Hernandez, some of these other athletes, the damage they had done. This is a social experiment that they've done. Let's take someone who's 12 and we're going to switch their gender. And they have no idea the effects of some of these drugs and what it's going to do later. But you're exactly right. Now, Nicole, touch on this Barrington teacher that apparently has been placed on administrative leave, this Benjamin Philo, did the TikTok.
Right. So this video has been circulating. A lot of people sent it to me, and I know you got it too. There's a Barrington teacher who teaches social studies, and he put out a video where he said things like, Charlie Kirk is a piece of shit, that this is what you get by Charlie. He calls him a bigot and he's hateful, which is not true at all. He was a Christian, and there are even gay people on Twitter saying, hey, Charlie was a Christian. He rejected homosexuality, but he didn't hate people for being gay.
No.
And there are plenty of examples of Charlie talking to people, including people who believed that they were transgender. And Charlie said, I want you to feel comfortable in the body that you're born in. That's what I want for you. And that is a compassionate, loving thing to say to somebody.
That's right.
So this teacher is now on TikTok. He had posted a video, I think it's now deleted. And it's my opinion that he's celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk.
He is.
And, as a social studies teacher, it makes me question how biased or unbiased he can be when he's teaching social studies. I mean, so I really hope that his opinions are not coming through into the classroom, but even just posting that video, it's so morally depraved. And I think he knew it was morally depraved because according to what I can see on TikTok, it looks like he deleted it. So,
he made his account private.
Yeah, well,
so it could be.
He may have deleted it. But
he might have. Okay.
But I mean, it's just astounding.
Now, Nicole, you also have been. I was just going to say, he's the leader of the Barrington Teachers Union. He reports to Val Lawson, who's the president of the Rhode Island Senate, who's the head of the Teachers Union. And you have seen firsthand what it was like. You want to talk about hateful. The way the Teachers Union not only went after you, they continue to go after you, the way they marked you, the way they, the venomous way they tried to smear you in your town. These are not people that should be involved in education, and they're not people that should be in positions of leadership.
I can tell you from my experience in my lawsuit, and I'm saying this from the evidence that I have seen in the teacher union lawsuit against me, these people are in the teachers union. They operate like Stasi spies scheming against personal individuals, private people like myself. I mean, when I was sending my public records request to my school district, they were behind the scenes for months talking about me, texting about me, talking about me like an enemy. I mean, they act like antisocial psychopaths. So I mean,
Yes.
the teachers union as a political body is one animal, but when you see how these people operate behind the scenes, it is truly scary that these people are in charge of our kids' education, because they are morally depraved, and they do not operate in the real world. They are ideological extremists, and it comes out in their behavior behind the scenes. And I really can't wait to talk more about it once my lawsuit resolves. But they are scheming, and they are vicious.
Folks, again, it's Nicole Solas. And Nicole, I think, share with you that our where we live, you and I in the Northeast and here in Rhode Island, people don't realize what it's like to be under attack from these people, what it's like to be under attack for your beliefs. And I think with Charlie Kirk, it's not only personal for me, but I have one child that works at Fox News. My youngest now works with the Department of Justice. There's fear. The people at Fox, they knew Charlie. They worked Charlie. A lot of the people in the Trump administration. My youngest is a presidential appointee. A lot of the people, they knew him. They knew him from the campaign. Like, what is going on? This is one side. They couldn't take out President Trump with the assassination attempt, so they take out a young guy who's on college campuses and just trying to have dialogue with people and trying to say to young people, hey, if you're a conservative and you're heterosexual, hey, it's okay, and you should get married and have a family and be more spiritual and pray and have faith. And he was hated and killed. And I just think right now, this is a frightening time in the Northeast when you have people like Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts, you have Sheldon Whitehouse, you have Seth Magaziner. There's no leadership, Nicole. It's all they're just like the attack dogs for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, it's an attack on Christians. It's an attack on anyone who is moral, anyone who is spiritual. I mean, I am also afraid. I mean, I just did an event with Moms for Liberty where I read books to little kids, and we were protested and they tried to intimidate us. I mean, I brought my kids to the event thinking, well, I'm just reading books. But these people hated us. They surrounded the library. I had to yell at people to move so my kids could walk on the sidewalk, and as well as other people's kids. But, these people are there. And I thought, God, if I were ever protesting something like this and I saw the children, I mean, I would feel so much shame. I would put down my sign, walk away, and go beg God for forgiveness. Because, we just wanted to read books, but these people wanted to terrify us just for reading books to kids that were wholesome. So I do not understand where these people stop. I mean, I can tell you, when you are under attack by these people, it is a real effect. I'm not going to stop speaking out in public, but it has an effect. Your adrenaline is rushing. You're exhausted the next day. And it's because you kind of go into like this war mentality where you're on guard. I mean, I even have people that say, hey, keep looking around you, make sure you're aware of your surroundings. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to read books to kids. Why do I have to be afraid for my physical safety?
But it's part of, Nicole, and you already know this, but it's the dehumanization. It's they treat us and look at you as less than human. It's part of like a brainwashing. I went through it with the Karen Reed trial. Those people, you can't reason with them. You would think that I was an enemy from another country, the venom that they can't even control their anger. But Nicole, you've also been great. And I'll say it. Number one, you have so many fans. Number two, you're so brilliant. Number three, our local media, they continue to there's a blackout on you with everything you've done, whether it's Speaker McCarthy or the recognition you've gotten. If you were trans, if you were a person of color, you would be on the cover of, Rhode Island Monthly, you'd be leading the newscast. But because you're Caucasian, suburban mom, as a result of that, they just go along with the teachers union, and it just leads to like a blackout.
Oh yeah, no, the local media, they have one goal, and that is to try to make me look bad. They, for example, I a long time ago did 2 interviews with WPRI, and they did not air them because they couldn't make me look bad. And they were asking me these ridiculous questions. I knew they were trying
Yeah.
to beat me. One of them was, when my school district threatened to sue me, they said, "Well, Nicole, is this just all about race for you?" And I said, "No, I think it's all about race.
God.
I think it's all about race for the school district, and I believe
Yes.
that we should talk about issues and not bully individuals." And I thought, oh, she's not going to air this. And they did not. So, I wish people could see behind the scenes of how these media interviews are conducted, because it's very
Yeah.
disillusioning. And
Yes.
you realize that it is all propaganda on the left.
I want to come back, Nicole, but it's a frightening time. I know Susie Wiles did an interview today, and she was saying, and I understand it, the people at the White House, they're really shaken by this. And I understand why. President Trump came so close. We saw just how close, couple of inches with President Trump, that could have been a different story. But I just find it's so unsettling that we happen to live in an area where no one's going to change my mind about this. The Democrats that run this state, they follow their own playbook. They put it out there that anyone that is not on their side is the enemy. They all put out the same type of talking point. There should be no need for political violence. But the Democrat Party, and especially the teachers union, the Democrat Party, Nicole, it borders on a terrorist organization.
Well, they certainly operate with a cult ideological mentality.
Yes.
And I think that will blind you. It will block your good judgment. And when people operate like that, I don't think they're able to make good policy decisions. I don't think
No.
they're able to make laws for everybody. And it's the kind of people it's exactly the kind of people you don't want in office. I mean, when you have ideologically extreme people, what we have to remember is that the really bad totalitarian states that we learned about, like under Mao, those all come from ideology. We tend to think that totalitarian states come with violence right off the bat. No, it starts with this ideology. And I think the reason why we're all scared now have been scared for a while, is because now we're seeing the ideology becoming manifested in violence, because they say it happens slowly, gradually at first, and then suddenly. So I think we're all kind of instinctually on guard with that.
Yeah. And there is a feeling of like, who's going to be next? I mean, this is real. It is amazing, Charlie, just the effect that he has had. But there's real fear, and it's legitimate fear, where suddenly maybe it's not a good idea to have an event outside. Maybe, you have to be cautious. This will have a chilling effect. It will. I mean, people, they're not fooling around on something like this. And one last thing, Nicole, so many people, and I give you so much credit. You came under so much wrath for simply saying, I don't think it's a good idea to have drag queens doing story time with young children. And the venom you faced from that. I mean, to me, that is so confusing, that saying to these young children, oh, look at this man. You have a 5-year-old child, 6-year-old child. Here's a man, and he's in a dress, and he looks like a woman, but he's a man, and he's going to read to you. So it's okay to sit on his lap. I'm telling you, Nicole, there's just something odd and strange about that whole concept. And they believe so strongly in it.
Well, they refuse to accept that drag is adult sexual content.
Right.
And drag is also an academic theory. I think it falls under the umbrella of queer theory, which is also sexual content. I mean, this is for adults. And the reason why they deny it, I mean, I think some of these people are truly stupid, but they're all brainwashed into thinking that it's an identity or an immutable characteristic like sexual orientation. It's not. It is a sexual fetish for adults. And that is the only reason why kids should not be exposed to it. Period.
Yeah.
End of story.
And you've also talked about, we could go on, I'll have you back, but the different books in the school and everything else. But Nicole, it's this is a tough time. This is a very difficult time, and especially where we are in the country, where you know what it's like to be under attack. I know what it's like to be under attack. My children are feeling what it's a frightening time when we have people. They're elected officials. They're not leaders. They're just elected officials who are part of this mentality where they think, this guy should have been fired, this teacher in Barrington. Instead, administrative leave with the union. That's basically, they're going to give him a little vacation. But, to have a teacher celebrating online and doing a TikTok, I mean, what does that tell you of the judgment that this guy has? It's very frightening. So, well, listen, Nicole, everybody is with you. I share, I understand what you're saying, but I just, you mean so much. You have so many people behind you. So it's a difficult time, but we have to stick together, and we'll talk again.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, John.
Okay, Nicole. Folks, is she the greatest or is she the greatest? Nicole Solas. I don't blame her. I mean, she's very, very upset. It is frightening. So, okay, so we put out the video, and now this guy is on administrative leave. And hold on. Oh, good. Libs of TikTok have picked up on it. Good. I'm very happy to hear that. Good. Placed on administrative leave. Good. It should be. It should be. By the way, good evening, everybody on YouTube as well. So, and it just a point of, I don't want to get too far off, because I want to come back to that. All of this is about Charlie Kirk, who, you think about it. I mean, why couldn't the progressives and the Democrats, why couldn't they have someone like him go out to the college campuses? And why couldn't they say, yeah, let's debate. Let's debate this. So why couldn't that happen? But they don't operate that way. And as I'm disgusted with, we don't have political leaders. I don't like being angry. I don't. But oh, good. Let me just, I do want to share that. Oh, good. Libs of TikTok. Good. Has been placed on administrative leave. What a jerk that guy is. But I want you to know the behind the scene, right? So we can all say this guy, and again, I have the TikTok. It's on our Facebook page. I have it on X, and then I also have it on Instagram. So it's on Facebook. But I want you to know the behind the scenes of what. Why would he not be fired? How come the local media is not asking his boss, hey, what's the story with this guy? It's because his boss is the Senate president, and his boss, Val Lawson, the rep of East Providence. So she's a senator from East Providence. She's the president of the Senate. She took over for Dominic Ruggiero, who passed away this year. She's the new Senate president at the Rhode Island State House. So in the House, you have Speaker Sakachi. In the Senate, you have Lawson. But she's also NEA Rhode Island, which is the teachers union. Now, I'm not trying to be a broken record, but she has not condemned the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But that's because her members are celebrating. Do you understand? That's why, and I don't like to get upset at some of our local media. I don't. So, and I'm not trying to be a broken record. And they can put out whatever news they want, whether it's Channel 12 or Channel 10. Or forget about some of the print. But this was news today. They're making her into a model. Oh, poor Val. Oh, poor president of the Senate, Lawson, had a bomb threat. Why not just include in that story Val Lawson, who, number one, refuses to condemn the assassination of Charlie Kirk. She also, admittedly a pet peeve, she will not call President Trump President Trump. It's if they mention, it's just Trump, just like Seth Magaziner. You know, Trump is to blame for this. I can't stand it. They're so disrespectful. They're the worst people. They are. You know, that was, folks, I hope you could tell. It was very genuine for me to talk to Nicole. And I can understand that. I've dealt with that. I've dealt with the progressive far left, the progressives, the union members, the hardcore Dems, their hatred. It's an unnatural, unrealistic hatred they have. And I did mention as we were talking with her, as she was describing that, see, it's the same thing of the brainwashing that I experience with the Free Karen Reed people. So that they don't even, they can't even control their emotions. They're so filled with hatred. That final day when supposedly, I still don't think it happened, but supposedly I cracked the woman's taillight. I am telling you, some of those women, if they had a weapon, they absolutely would have taken me out on the spot. If they had a weapon, they couldn't even control their rage. It's unreasonable, unjustifiable rage, but it's all part of the cult. And so what happens is when you wind this crowd up, which the Democrats do, and the Rhode Island Democrats do, 100%, you end up with someone that shows up at a site, and for what reason? Charlie Kirk went to that campus to just speak to the crowd and talk a little bit about his beliefs. And he's a big supporter, huge supporter of President Trump. And he's also a Christian, and he has a young family, as you know. Sitting under a tent, there's the microphone. Prove me wrong. You state what you think. I'll state what I think. Let's have some dialogue. No, it wasn't enough. You get this. I also just want to make sure they have not made any announcement about any type of, no, still no. I don't know. Are we going to have a press conference tonight? I don't know. Let me just also check. Oh, okay. You know, I don't think that's enough that he's placed on administrative leave. I don't think it's enough. It's done to, it's basically done to just like cool the waters. But how come, do I even want to, you know what, I'll just do it for our purposes, everybody. And now last night, as I've said, when something big happens, you know, we end up, here it is, Channel 12, hoax bomb threats sent to top Dems in Rhode Island Senate. Channel 12, police responded Thursday, bomb threats targeting the homes, 3 public officials in Rhode Island. It was hoax emails, Lieutenant Kramer of the state police, who I know. 20 state and local police cruisers were outside the home of Senate President Val Lawson at 1:45. What? No, and Senate Majority Leader Frank Chacon. I'm going to put Chacon to the side. Speaker Joe Shekarchi put out a statement saying, and with a picture, by the way, with a picture, he's got real balls. He's got a set of balls on. A picture. He actually put out a picture of Charlie Kirk condemning it. Channel 12, Channel 10 just broke. Barrington Public Schools teacher placed on leave. 7:56. Okay. They just put it out. Administrative leave. Should be terminated. Absolutely should be terminated. Of course, Channel 10 doesn't put the video or anything like that. So disgraceful. Rhode Island State Police investigate hoax bomb threat toward local officials. Again, I'm not going to be a broken record here. But why not mention? What would it take? Why won't she do that? No, she's not going to do that. Right? No, she's not going to mention that. Folks, I wish they were leaders. Oh, hold on. We could have action tonight. Okay. Big motorcade just arrived at Utah Valley University. Stand by. What's this? Again, I want to be very clear. All I'm asking for is how come no one in the media is asking her why she didn't condemn it? I think that's a reasonable question. I think it's a simple question. You watch. I think there's going to be a trans connection to this whole thing. That's big with the Democrat Party. And by the way, I think the Rhode Island Republican Party ought to play that up big. Put Governor McKee on the hot seat. Put Seth Magaziner on the hot seat. You had the shooter, the recent school shooter, who was suddenly, Robert was suddenly Robin and was very angry and went and killed those young children while they were in a church. And I believe the Rhode Island Republican Party should put, and there should be questions. That McKee and the rest of them don't want to answer questions about the head of the Women's Progressive Caucus. So they have been. I'm telling you, Caroline, we have near zero in common. We have zero in common. Well, he's a pathological loser. Terrible. He was. But it is frightening that a lot of people can become targets. And that is their, McKee, they're going to say what they're going to say, but it's just a smokescreen. As far as, hey, this, let's talk about private enterprise. Let's talk about, this is a pizza owner in Coventry, DiPetrillo's Pizza and Bakery, mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. I don't know this guy. I have no idea what would go into someone's mind to want to do that, but he decided to do that. So I have no idea why someone would think to post that. When you're trying to run a business, I don't understand it. I don't. So yes, she's on social media a lot. I'll have Nicole back. She's terrific. That's all right. I took care of him. So, hey, he is a business owner. We saw this with Allie's Donuts. But you know what? He's actually going to gain business. You know who was in there tonight getting a pizza? There you go. Guys in their 70s wearing dresses. No, it's frightening. The head of the FBI, Kash Patel, is out there. The FBI, as we know, did put out this earlier. And I believe that you never know. Sometimes you can gain customers that way. I remember being at Allie's Donuts that Sunday morning during COVID in June, over 5 years ago, and I couldn't believe the people that were in line that were supporting him in BLM t-shirts and everything else. This is it's not our imagination, folks. You're under attack. Remember the old expression, you're not paranoid if they are against you. I do have seen, I'll put that up. Yes, that's what I call a novelty candidate. She's never run for office. I'm not giving her any airtime. She's never run for office. She doesn't know how to raise money. It's a novelty act to just run for governor. So, okay, it looks like we have a new photo here. Oh, new photos. They're releasing new photos. Maybe they don't have them. They know who they're looking for. All right, I'm going to hold on. We'll share them in real time. They don't have a great shot of him, of this individual. I don't think so. But they do have more photos. So I know both Kash Patel and Bongino, I believe they flew out there. I mean, someone knows who this is. I'm stating the obvious. I'll say this, though. Whoever this individual is, this was planned. They're on the run. They keep in mind with what happened with the New York gunman. He got away. It doesn't mean they get away forever, but he if he had not been spotted at that McDonald's, they weren't sure who they were looking for. So this individual maybe made some mistakes. I'm going to bring up the new photos right now. Just bear with me. So, but that Luigi, they didn't know exactly who they were looking for. They did not. And he got out of New York, which is no easy feat. He had it planned out with the type of weapon, and then he took the bike, and then he went up to where you can take a train. He took a train out of New York. So, I think these photos, I mean, if I knew this person, I think there's enough. Maybe they start to panic, like we saw with the Boston Marathon. Let me just pull this up. No, I haven't. No need. I haven't. I didn't say, well, can someone please send me the video or the photo? I haven't. That's unsolicited. All right, here's one of the first new ones. I just took two. There's four of them, but these two, I think, you get a decent idea of. So these are the two new photos. I agree, Ginger. Allie's donuts are awesome. That puts you in timeout. There's just a lot of sugar. That's all. So, yeah. So here is the new photos that they have released. Now, I find this very interesting. So they have new photos of him climbing or coming down somewhere. There's the shirt. There's the hat. Notice he's not looking around. He's got the sunglasses on. Now, you tell me, if you knew this person and you looked at that photo, would you be able to tell? Would you be able to tell who it was? I think you would. But who knows? If this person is doing something like this, you would think that then the whole family's whacked. But this is Utah Public Safety, and they're still asking for tips. So I did think that the reason the FBI was out there and they're out in Utah, I thought they were going to announce an arrest, but I don't know what that means. Yeah. Let me just double check. Hold on. Now, Robin sent a photo, and that's not one of the photos that the Utah Public Safety sent out. So I don't know where that photo is or how that came online. But all right, I'll share it. But they just released 4 new photos. I don't think that's one of the ones they released, Robin. And I'm not chastising her. But I'm going to look at, see, I think the photo that Robin sent, let me just check. Yeah, that's not, I think that is, let me double check. All right, I'm looking at, yeah, that is not one of the photos they've released. That was, someone did AI with that. So right now, I'm looking at Utah Public Safety have released 6 photos. And Robin, no offense, but the one you sent me is not one of the photos. So I am familiar with the photo that Robin sent, but that was not released by Utah Public Safety. Where I've seen this is someone took a photo and then cleaned it up. But they've only released 4, and this is not one of them. Because the one that she sent, it looks like there's someone standing behind the person. So again, I'm not trying to, it is odd. I know. He does seem to know, Sharon, where it is. So I think so. I'll double check it. And again, I want to be very clear. I mean, I love Robin. I'm not trying to chastise Robin, but I have not seen, someone just sent me a message. Have you seen the thing about the Barrington teacher? No, I haven't seen it. Okay, I'm going to stick with. Now, I'm not trying to put Robin on the spot. Where did you get that photo? I got it online. No, that's not. They did not release that. Official photo. Okay. Now, I also want to touch on, I know he does. I know that there is a, they don't seem to be on the same page, Eric. No, they're not. I think they're trying to get on the same page. So yeah, Rob, I'm not chastising you, but that is not. Terrorist attacks. All right. I don't want to, like, when I start to see questions like this, I no offense, Tina, I almost consider this a little bit of a waste of a time. Why can't the shooters who killed Mr. Kirk in the attempt on President Trump be charged with terrorist attacks? I see. The individual, I'm assuming you mean the one in Florida, the individual in Butler was killed, and they haven't caught this one yet. So I think we're jumping ahead a little bit. So, and as far as it is very scary, Debbie. Yeah. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Joe Rowe, go easy. I don't believe that. So, nope, I don't believe that. That's not one of the official photos. But anyhow, listen, folks, I'm not, people are asking, am I going to cover the candlelight vigil tomorrow night? I'll say a couple of things. We had Anthony on last night. A couple things about it. To be honest, number one, I'm just in an angry state of mind. That's number one. So I don't feel like going and covering a candlelight vigil. Number two, I don't like the Rhode Island State House. So a lot of people don't like going to Providence. I'll share with you. I suggested to the organizer, move it to Cranston. Cranston has the only Republican mayor. Why does the candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk have to be at the Rhode Island State House? It's going to look empty. It's going to look empty. Number one, people don't like going to Providence. Number two, it's going to look totally empty. And number three, I hate the fucking Rhode Island State House. So I suggested at least do it outside of Cranston City Hall. Maybe Mayor Hopkins would go. He's the only elected mayor, Republican mayor in the state. So anyhow, it was good to talk to Nicole. Yep. So listen, thank you, everybody. Now, you know the drill. If something happens like last night, we, well, I mean, like, what is that? I apologize. Nobody thinks. What are you, the Barrington teacher? Hi there, Jessica Perry. I know. And folks, admittedly, listen, I know what it's like to be threatened. My children kind of work, you know, this is very unsettling to everybody at Fox. It's very unsettling to everyone within administration. And I feel there's no support in the state. And I think the media is weak. I do. And I know the public officials are weak. So I don't even like thinking that way, but I do think that, and I do feel that way. I think it's totally weak. So, and I admittedly, I'm not saying you have to declare war, but I couldn't stand the fact that young Republicans released a joint release with the young Democrats. That's mamby-pamby bullshit. I can't stand that type of thing. What the fuck are you releasing a statement with them for? God almighty, jeez, who thought of that? Let's all get along. What the fuck are you talking about? We're the ones under attack. And I don't know. I'm not filming the candlelight vigil. They can have it. I mean, that's entirely their call. But and the whole thing of the State House, and for what? What is McKee going to go out? You're going to fucking hold hands? Like, it's such bullshit. These people are just total a-holes. I can't stand them. And again, I know, like local media, they'll just say, well, you do your own coverage. Listen, this is unacceptable that this lady is the Senate president and she won't condemn that Barrington teacher. So, all right. It is very unsettling. All right. We shall see what happens with the story. We'll see if anything happens tonight. Again, thank you to the mods. Thank you, everybody. And we're going to continue to follow the story. Enjoy your Thursday night.